A woman named Ryo Tatsuki says a mega tsunami is coming in July of 2025, triggered by a volcanic eruption so intense it'll make the ocean boil. And she's named the countries in the path. Sounds wild, but she has been right before, like when she dreamed about Freddie Mercury's death 15 years before it happened, or when she saw a strange palace vision 5 years to the day before Princess Diana died. Now people are wondering if this new prediction is just another strange dream or another warning we'll wish we'd taken seriously. Japan's Baba Vanga has made a terrifying prediction. Ryo Tatsuki, often called Japan's version of Baba Vanga, has made a new prediction, and it's not good. She says that in July of 2025, which is coming up, for those of you who aren't sure what month or year it is, but she says it's going to be a huge natural disaster triggered by an underwater volcanic eruption. She had a dream where this eruption happens somewhere south of Japan, and it causes the ocean to start boiling before sending this massive tsunami toward multiple countries. She believes Japan, Taiwan, Indonesia, and the Northern Mariana Islands will be in the path of destruction. Now, what's the big deal about this? People have nightmares all the time. My God, with all the bad dreams I have, if I ever thought they were going to come true, I would just never leave the house. But what's got people's attention is that Tatsuki's made accurate predictions before, and her dreams often come with very specific timelines. She believes that her predictions come true in time frames that are divisible by 5, so something happening in 2025 fits this pattern. She also doesn't just write down her predictions, she draws them as manga. That's how most of her warnings get out to the public. In this particular dream, she saw the ocean bubbling and steaming before the water pulled back and came crashing back as a tsunami. She hasn't said exactly where the volcano is, but given the location, people have been speculating that it could be related to the Pacific Ring of Fire, where a lot of seismic activity already happens. Whether people believe her or not, this latest prediction has stirred up a lot of attention, especially because of her past track record. So let's talk a little bit more about who she is. Ryo Tatsuki is a manga artist who says that she's been having dreams about future events since she was young. She doesn't call herself a psychic, but she does believe some of her dreams seem to show real things that are going to happen, and she usually documents them through manga. Her most well-known work is a book called The Future I Saw, which she released back in 1999. At first, it didn't get much attention, but that changed in 2011 when people noticed she'd written about a disaster happening March of that year, right before the real tsunami hit Japan. That's when people started digging into her older predictions and realized there was a few others that seemed to line up with major events. Since then, she's built a following, with fans tracking what she dreams and how it might be connected to current events. She says her predictions usually come true in time spans that are divisible by 5 days, 5 years, 15 years, so on. She's not out giving press conferences or trying to prove anything. She just draws what she sees and lets people decide what they want to believe. Over time, her mix of storytelling and strange accuracy has earned her the nickname Japan's Baba Vanga. And now, whenever she puts out a new warning, people tend to take notice, because, hey, you never know. The first prediction that Ryo Tatsuki ever claimed to have had was about Freddie Mercury. According to her, she had a dream on November 24th of 1976, where she saw a clear image of Mercury dying suddenly. She took note of the dream, but at the time she didn't think much of it. I mean, people dream about celebrities all the time. I certainly do. Not about them dying, but I still wake up in a cold sweat, if you know what I mean. Anyway, exactly 15 years later, in 1991, again on November 24th, Freddie Mercury actually died. That moment really stuck with her, and it's what made her start taking her dreams more seriously. From then on, she started recording them and looking for patterns. It also started her theory that the events she dreams about happen in cycles that divide evenly by 5. While some people say it's just a coincidence, others point to this as the beginning of her long list of eerily timed predictions. She said in interviews that she never expected this dream to mean anything, but after Mercury's death, she started wondering if maybe her subconscious was picking up on something. It's not the most dramatic prediction compared to her later ones, but it's what set everything in motion. In 1992, Tatsuki had another dream that she later connected to a real-world event. This time, she dreamt that she was walking down a long corridor inside a palace. At the end of the hallway, there was a large portrait of a blonde woman holding a baby. The name written on the painting was Diana. At the time, she didn't immediately think of Princess Diana, but she wrote the dream down, and 5 years later, to the day, Princess Diana died in a car crash in Paris. Looking back on it, she felt like the dream was some kind of warning. The imagery of the palace, the woman holding the baby, the name, it all seemed so specific. And once again, this dream fit into her divisible by 5 timeline rule, which she uses to try and narrow down when her visions might come true. She said that not all her dreams are this clear or symbolic, but in this case, it stuck with her. After Diana's death, people started going back through Tatsuki's earlier work and finding other dreams that seemed oddly timed. The Diana dream is often mentioned by her followers as one of her most compelling, especially because it involved such a well-known figure and landed on a precise anniversary. In 1995, Ryo Tatsuki had a dream where an old man led her to a place with a cracked ground. The dream was simple, but something about it just felt off, so she wrote it down. After waking up, she noted that the word cracked really stood out, and she connected it to the city of Kobe, writing that it might happen there, either in 15 days or 15 years. Again, that number 5 shows up. Well, a mere 15 days later, and the Great Hanshin earthquake hit Kobe on January 17th of 1995. Over 5,000 people died, tens of thousands were injured, and the city was left in ruins. It was Japan's second deadliest earthquake of the 20th century. This prediction is one of her most talked about because of how close she got to the actual event and timing. Unlike her earlier dreams, this one had a real-world location tied to it from the start, and it happened quickly after she recorded it. For a lot of people in Japan, this is when they really started paying attention to her. The timing, the location, the death toll, it made it hard to miss. Even now, it's one of the strongest pieces people use when defending the idea that Tatsuki might actually be tapping into something more than just coincidence. Ryo Tatsuki's most famous prediction, though, and the one that really pushed her into the public eye, was the 2011 tsunami. Back in 1999, she published her manga The Future I Saw, which at one point mentions that the quote, great disaster will occur on March 2011. At the time, it didn't get much attention, but after the March 11th, 2011 disaster, well, people did. That day, a massive undersea earthquake triggered a tsunami that slammed into Japan's coastline. Nearly 20,000 people were killed, and the Fukushima nuclear plant suffered a meltdown. The scale of destruction was massive. The fact that she'd written the month and year of the disaster more than a decade earlier was enough to make headlines. Her book sold out, people started posting scans online, and suddenly everyone wanted to know what else she'd written. Some said it was just a lucky guess, but it is kinda nuts that she predicted both the month and year of such a major event. This prediction, more than any other, gave her the Japan's Baba Vanga title, and it's the reason people are now paying close attention to what she says is coming next. But this next one probably hits a lot closer to home because it affected the entire globe. Long before 2020 flipped the world upside down, Ryo Tatsuki wrote about a mysterious virus in her manga The Future I Saw. One of her entries mentioned that in, quote, 25 years, an unknown virus will come in 2020, will disappear after peaking in April, and appear again 10 years later. Well, of course, like clockwork, 2020 hit, and the world faced one of the biggest global health crises in recent history. Her wording was eerily close, the timing dead on, and the part about it peaking in April, well, that's exactly when a lot of countries saw their first major wave start to calm down. What's got people really on edge now is the second part of her prediction. She says the virus will return in 10 years. If she's right, that puts us somewhere around 2030 for another round. Some think it could be a mutation of the same virus. Others think it might be a brand new one altogether. Either way, people who followed her predictions aren't brushing this off, especially not after she nailed the year and even the month of the first wave. Out of all her predictions, this one feels the most personal because everyone lived through it and nobody wants a repeat. Whether it's fate, coincidence, or something stranger, her track record certainly has people watching the calendar. And with all of that said, I've been your host James, and I'll catch you, yes you specifically, in the next video.